Aloha everyone, Joshua Hayes at BigWaveTrading.com. I wasn't going to make a video lesson, but I figured let's go ahead and do it really quick because I want to make it very clear here that the market looks extremely sick. But with that being said, I think bearishness in the very, very short term has gotten a little out of hand. So we should see a bounce maybe on Thursday, Friday. If we do, I have some new long signals, so that's the good news. But overall, this market's in a lot of trouble. If you're a new trader, cash is king. If you're an experienced trader with a larger account, cheaper commission size, you can try to play around with longs here, but know that every long signal you see me take, I pretty much assume it's going to fail. So remember, I have two stop levels. With that first one goes, I'm moving stops up immediately. And as the stock even starts to rise immediately, stops are trailing higher. It's a constant trim and trail process right here. I'm not giving stocks room to work. They either start working immediately and I'm raising stops, or they fail and I'm immediately raising stops. Either way, I'm very, very short and quick with new long positions if they don't work immediately. So really quick, let me just run through the full sell signals just so you know what's happening. STAA is a 100% full sell signal, complete rollover, very heavy volume. My final stop loss is right here, was right here. That was my final stop loss. But to me, this is done now. There's three lower highs, three lower lows, above average volume sell-off. So my final stop now is 5 cents because it's a 5-cent stock below 14.30, 14.25, but STAA full sell signal. FWRD, I want to make sure I got the stocks I'm long. I don't, so I can at least show you some if I'm still long. FWRD was a long signal here, closed below this low here on an end-of-day basis, full sell signal. FND, confirmation close below the 50-day moving average on above average volume with red bop. That's a full sell signal. The entry was back here. Full sell signal now. ING in confirmation close below the 50-day moving average on above average volume with red bop, with the 118.33 being below the low of the previous session. That makes it the confirmation close. My final stop was right here. It gets moved up to right there, already out of FND, FWRD intraday. AMWD completely rolling over now. Confirmation close below the 50-day moving average. Just an ugly chart pattern now. Not something I want to be long, but I'm not long anyway because following this session here, I moved my final stop to that low, and intraday I was knocked out here. So AMWD I don't have anymore, but if you do, your final stop goes right there. MOD never got filled. Remember my limit order? It never got filled. I initiated the long signal here on an end-of-day basis using the limit order of, I believe it was that close because it was extended from the 20-day moving average. Never filled, and when it had that move here on a higher volume and lost the green bop, the order was canceled. But if MOD got filled, that is a full sell signal with today's move today. And SECO, with the lower highs, lower lows, breaking below this resistance line and the 50-day moving average, and with 1136 being below 1137 the previous day's low a day, that is a full sell signal. I was knocked all out of SECO the day before, so I do not have a position. RRR, my final stop was here. This is a failure with it closing below this low, moving my final stop to right here. So you can see a lot of failures, but all of it for very tiny losses for one reason. My position sizes are tiny. I'm not pushing anything into the individual stocks unless the setup is completely perfect. That's from a flat, tight basing pattern with the price not extended from either the 50, 20, 10, or 5-day moving average, preferably with the 5, 10, 20, and 50 all sitting on top of each other in a flat consolidation pattern lasting at least 2 weeks. There is nothing building out like that. And even with this balance of power here, you can see even though it's green, it's trending lower. So keep that in mind. Now, with that being said, I do have 2 new quality long positions, but if they don't work, remember, I won't be surprised. LGND is my highest quality new long position. This is a CanSlim quality stock. 98 earnings per share rating, bouncing right off the 50-day moving average, candle over candle, heavier volume, slightly higher bop. Want to get long, limit order 154.91, the high of the day. My first cut loss level right there, 150.58. That's where I'm going to put half. Then I'll have 25% at 148.23 and my final 25% at 145.66. These lows go. Like I said, I'm moving my stops up. Now, normally it's a canceling long, it's 2%, but with us being under a hard neutral, leaning towards a sell signal, it's only 1.5%. My models go into sell signal. That'll probably happen if we sell off again on heavy volume, because then I'll start to have a lot of fail signals. Do not forget, I am still tracking. Look at this. 173 names I'm still tracking uptrends. See this red line here? That was my final cut loss level. That is no longer the case. Let me move that up so I can show you where my final cut loss level is now. I was showing somebody this a few days ago. So MGPI, my final cut loss is here. I have a little bit here. I have a little bit here. I have a little bit here. And half following today's session, it was a 50% sell signal, goes right there. But once again, still tracking 173 ETFs or stocks that I've issued end-of-day long signals on that are still uptrending. So, it's hard to be too bearish here. And then with LG&D triggering a long signal, got to get long, but it's only 1.5% of my account capital. Then DDS. DDS is an earnings winner, gapping up intraday today. Matched the previous lows, a successful test in Raleigh with the close near the high of the day. BOP stayed a strong green and was higher in the session before, heavier volume, so DDS want to get long. Limit order 82.21, the close, and my one and only cut loss 77.38. Now I might have a second one at 72.66, but once again, this thing doesn't start moving higher immediately. I start raising my stops. If it loses green BOP, I raise all of my stops. There's just no question asked. DDS was in my price volume BOP scan. It's an earnings winner, but still, with it being price volume BOP, it's only 1%. But now, because we're under a neutral, normally, because it's extended from the 20-day moving average, that would make it a 0.5% signal. But under this hard neutral, with the stock being also extended from the 10-day moving average, if it's an earnings winner, it has to be halved again. So it's only 0.25% of my account capital. And I will remind everyone, with the Interactive Brokers account that I use for these trades, that's still $1,000. I will be paying $1 commission and putting 0.25% of my capital in this stock. And in that Interactive Brokers account that I use for these trades, that's $1,000. So it makes sense for me. But if 0.25% for you is like $20 and your commission is $5, obviously DDS is not a good trade. And then I also received an ad signal in Twitter. This is a great ad signal, and this is what I'm talking about. If we're in a strong uptrending market, in a confirmed bull market, and I got a lot of charts that look like this, and Twitter's there. Twitter's got like a 98 earnings per share rating also. It's a huge growth stock. Candle over candle, heavier volume, max green BOP. It was in my max green BOP for 5-day scan, was in my green BOP for 20-day scan, was in my high price stock scan for a move, but I kind of ignore that scan. It's just kind of a tertiary scan. But Twitter's CanSlim quality, perfect speculators quality, and with those two BOP scans being in a strong market, CanSlim is a 2.5% signal. Perfect Speculators is a 2.5% signal. That's 5%. Add 1% for the BOP 20, add 1% for BOP 5. We've got a 7% signal there. And then if it would have been in the price volume BOP surge scan, could have had an 8% signal, possibly 9-10% if it would have been in the high price scan, and then maybe in another scan. But it wasn't. And it's extended from the 20-day moving average. Barely, but still got a reduced size, with Twitter being an ad signal and extended. Right now, CanSlim scan gets 1.5%. Perfect Speculator gets 1.5%. I'm still allocating 1% each for the BOP scans, so that's a total of 5%. That's halved into 2.5% for being an ad signal. That's halved again for being extended from the 20-day moving average. So it would be 1.25% of my account capital. But because from my first cut loss level to the close is under 5%, I'm going to go ahead and increase it to 1.5%, just like LG&T. So Twitter, 1.5% of my account capital. Limit order, the close, 32.24. First cut loss, 31.25. Then 25% right here. I didn't write it down, but it's going to be 30.63. And then the final 25% of the ad signal right here at 29.67. All right, everyone. I'll see you in the chat room. Great luck.